So what's going on, guys? This is Nate with Looking Through Water and the Spot the Truck campaign. We just ended up in Rhode Island. We were down in Newport this morning, and our buddy Paul Dixon told us to come see
Come
Peter.
say hi. That's
Yeah, it's
great.
Saltwater Edge. So
He's a good man.
called him this morning. Let him know what we were doing. We were in town, and they told us to come by. We're going to show you the shop and talk about a little bit about what you guys do here in
Sure.
your shop. And
Yep.
it seems like you have lots of stuff going on. I see a lot of signage around the shop. And,
Yeah, we do. Well, we try to do a lot of events, some films, like like possibly yours, and then also a lot of education events. Fly tying nights, but also bring in, tires that people want, Blaine Chocolate or Ben Wally, guys like that they want to learn from, and we're more of a community hub, I think, than the shop per se.
Yeah.
Because on the education side, it's some of the how-to of surf, fly, whatever, but also the advocacy side. Striped bass, false albacore, what's going on with redfish. Maybe less interest here in the Northeast, but there's a lot going on. And honestly, if you love something, you probably should be ready to stick your nose in there and fight for it.
Yeah.
Right. So we try to give people the information they need to make their own decision.
Yeah, so you guys cover like a wide variety, and that's not something we've touched base on this. I think we're at probably around stop like 11 or 12 shops we've been to thus far, starting in Islamorada, and they're working our way up the whole coast. I haven't heard much about surf fly. Is that what you just said?
Yeah.
So you want to touch base on that a little bit, because that's a new one for
we
me.
started as a fly shop on Thames Street in downtown Newport, 31 years ago, and but over that time, we've evolved. We now carry a large selection of surf casting rods, reels, etc. But one of the good example of that, and because what I realized when I first got in the shop was that the surf guy's just as passionate about the lip on the plug or the quality of the finish as the fly guy is about the different flies, and whether that's sandeel olive or silverside olive. So that's the same guy, a passionate angler. That's our customer.
Yeah.
Right? Whether they choose to pick up a fly rod or a spin rod. I think you and I joked already that I think there's sort of two saltwater fly fishermen, at least in the Northeast. When you're in the surf, on the sand, on the rocks, it could be the case that the wind picks up and the bait gets big. Some of those fly guys put their 9-weight in the car and drive to a trout stream. They're committed to the fly rod, and God bless them.
Yeah.
Others say, "Oh, good," and pull out a 10.5-foot surf rod and and some custom wood and get right to it, right? And they're committed to the salt. So they're both. I believe strongly the fly rod is a great tool for a job, right? But there's some jobs it's a distant second choice.
Yeah.
Right.
100%.
I tend to put it down at that point and pick up the thing that I feel like, because it's more like a connection to your passion.
Yeah.
My preference certainly throwing a fly.
And then, so what are your like seasons here? Because obviously, you guys, your weather changes quite a bit. I would assume out here. So like right now, it's early September, September 6th. What is the fishing like here now? Or can you guys pretty much fish all species all year?
Well, no, it varies. There's definitely runs, and there's the sort of status of some of the different species in terms of health, right? Striped bass, for a long time have been the linchpin for fishing in the Northeast, saltwater fishing, be it fly or spin, because you can catch them on flies, you can catch them on lures, you can catch them with a boat, a kayak, the beach. They're here from March until November, and you can probably catch them in between if you try. You know what I mean? It's literally it, and it is in serious trouble, in terms of population. Lots of bigger fish and not many small, having to do with the spawning success over the last 6 years has been pretty poor. So there's nothing behind what we have, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
But this time of year in particular, fall is great. I mean, we have albies and bonito, false albacore and bonito, bluefish, striped bass, weakfish are around again. I caught a Spanish mackerel a couple days ago. It's a variety, and that part's really fun. And great bluefin fishing pretty close to shore if you chose to do that with a fly rod.
Really?
But it's great theory, and it's hard to execute, because once you're hooked up, boy, it's a long job, even on a spin rod. And so fly rod, boy, the rest of the people in the boat better have signed off on it, because they're like, come on, man, let's go.
100%.
So
a few hours later, you're still with it.
Yeah. But it was interesting. We went looking for albies a couple days ago and ran east, and it took a while. We found lots of birds on the surface and feeding, and but no sustained feeds. And that sometimes in my mind has to do with the type of bait that they're on. But we rolled up on a feed and made 3 casts into it, each of us. And I caught a nice striped bass, probably 12 pounds or so. Next guy caught a rat bluefish out of the same pile, and the next guy caught a bonito. So we found them, right?
Yeah.
But we found everybody.
Yeah.
So but this fall this Labor Day to Columbus Day stretch is probably my favorite time of year to be in Rhode Island, because we have such a variety of fish.
And it's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah,
right now,
thanks, man.
I mean,
Islamorada's not too
yeah,
bad.
no,
All
Almaro's
right?
not too bad. It's my first time up here.
What kind of blew me away when I got down there was, you get off the highway past the Eckerd drugs and everything, and run into that backcountry, not very far at all. And there's no power lines. There's no neon lights.
Beautiful. It's nice. You get out there and
I needed to see that, because I was like, man, on the Keys.
It's nice when you're fishing like out towards Flamingo and stuff, and you can see that faint Miami light out in the distance, and then you look back down what we call south, and it's just pitch black. You see nothing and stars, and especially when you're running out early in the morning, 4 a.m.
Sign me up.
There's nothing better. Those slicked out mornings.
Love
there's not
stuff.
a slick of wind.
Yeah.
And then you started to mention the local singles program, which we have this.
Oh, the Guide Association, yeah.
Yeah, the Guide Association. So, and then my first question is, you walk into your shop right here on the left, you have a fish tank filled with hooks, and of course that drew my attention. I was like, there's got to be a backstory.
There's a story here, yeah, sure. So the American Saltwater Guide Association is an organization, and Paul's one of our board guys, that believes you need a sustainable fisheries to have a sustainable business in fishing. As an investment of my time and money into this, I want to know that it was built on solid ground, and it's clearly not. So you have to put, like I already sort of said, if it's important to you, whatever it is, needlepoint, not really telling you what's important to you.
Yeah.
But these days, you need to be ready to stick your nose in there and make something happen. So the local singles is a fun thing. I went out on the road last winter and went to various breweries. In the winter, they're happy to have you. And we called it local singles programming. People would come, bring their lures, and swap out the treble hooks to put on flags, which are either feathers or hackles or bucktail, but something with no hook, right? And so the data behind this is the post-release mortality of striped bass is 9%. But chunk bait is over 20 because it's often ingested. But then the next would be these lures that you see on the wall here, with a treble in the front, treble in the belly, and a treble in the back. Those are 7-8% post-release mortality. Then you have some that are configured with single hooks, 1 or 2, but that post-release mortality is still 5-6%. What they found, this is the state of Massachusetts did the study, is that a single location in the belly, be it a treble hook, or a single, has a post-release mortality of less than 4%. So by modifying your lures at the singles club, you take that post-release mortality from an average of 9 to an average of less than 4. Oh, this is Albie.
Yeah, we love the shop dogs.
Yeah, man.
Just hanging out, huh?
Yes, I took a drive through Florida. It was actually in Vero area, but I met Tippett and I met Finn and I met all these shop dogs with great names. And we had Albie a while, but wife picked her out, but I got to choose the name. So Albie it is. Probably my favorite local game fish.
I love it. Yeah, it's that's been one really cool part about one, just exploring these different shops. I can sit down and have a conversation with somebody like you who knows the area. I'm coming into it blind. I've learned that I don't really like looking up where I'm going. I like getting there, figuring it out, meeting somebody local, and letting them tell me their perspective on their town, their home, what they're passionate about. You can read whatever you want online. Yes, it can be informative sometimes, but to me, this is a much better interaction. It's a much better way to understand where you're at in the community.
Yeah, we have lots of people come in. We have a very big military/Navy presence, right? And when these guys come in, I can tell where they've been stationed by what they know how to catch, right? Speckled trout is Norfolk. Corbina, San Diego, and pink salmon, I think it is like Bellingham, Washington, right? So I know where they've been.
You're picking them out before they even tell you where they're from.
Right. And so they want to learn how to catch striped bass. And so what we try and do is, make best use of the stuff they already have, and help them understand what it is they're looking for. It's less about it's not the spot, it's the what, it's not the where, it's the what, because actually those Navy guys have access to the base that we don't, right?
Exactly.
But you are looking for deep water close to shore if you're looking for albies. You are looking for boulder fields at night if you're looking for striped bass. And those, we're just trying to, our tagline for the Saltwater Edge for a long time has been, we're here to help you make the most of your time on the water. That's on your terms. I swear. I think if you ask 10 people why they fish, you'll get 15 different answers. It's to be with my kids. It's to get away from my kids. I did it with my grandfather. All of it, all of it, all of it. Right. So we're agnostic as to your why. Right. But we want to help you, make the most of it. It's a quick story, but I had a brand promise that I wrote, 20 plus years ago. It got played back to me on a bulletin board. We donated 1% of sales to the Guide Association one December, right? And did a little press release, and some guy picks it up and puts it on a bulletin board. He says, "Geez, more shops should." And others do, you know what I mean? But more shops should do this. Get behind something and help us understand, what the issues are to support the fishery or the access or whatever it might be, right? And then another guy goes, "Geez, I order from them and I get my stuff in 2 days, and there's businesses in the state that can't do that, that are with, I could drive to, they can't do that." And the next guy says, "When you call them, they fished yesterday." And I'm like, my brand promise is we'll ship your order by 3:00. We'll advocate for the resource, and we fish the gear we sell. So it kind of came back.
And that's really kind of how it should be.
Right. Absolutely. That's what I would want.
And you touched base on, really backing, the community and, the fishing industries, because you have a valid point, without the fishing industry, without a sustainability of, your local resources, what do you have here then?
Right.
And,
no, exactly right.
And I thought that was a really good point that you brought up, and I'm sure other places do and other people think about it.
We have to do more, all of us.
100%.
My belief about that might be a lecture. The rest of it's, a beg, right? Yeah, 100%. But that might be, goddamn, we got to.
Yeah,
and I would also kind of say, even the individual, if it's important to you, and it's your choice, right? But if it's important to you, these access spots, these fisheries, all need your help. You know what I mean?
Tons of them.
And you can spread yourself too thin, certainly, but
do what you can manage.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Try to do it as best as you can. And
yeah,
that's cool. So if somebody's in the area, how do they find out about your local events? Because I'm looking around here, just the literature you have, the signage.
Yeah.
It seems like you guys have a lot of stuff going on.
Right.
So it's not just like it's not just a fishing shop. It's not just a fly shop.
Right.
You guys are getting out and doing all these things. Where can they find that information
to
learn more about you guys?
Our social, probably Instagram's probably best, but we have a regular newsletter. We try to do something on Sunday mornings called Shop Talk, which really doesn't have any sale information like buy two get one free or any of this kind of stuff. It is literally a cool podcast that we heard, whether it was ours or somebody else's, or a good story or that kind of thing that we want, that we think are the people that enjoy this place would enjoy learning about, especially on a Sunday when they got maybe a couple minutes to themselves.
100%.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's our intent, is to sort of connect people. One of the things I really enjoy about doing this is the way a passion, again, could be bird watching or whatever else, breaks down barriers like economics or race or anything like that. You see another fisherman, you're having a chat. And I go to a cocktail party, I'm looking for the guy with the striper belt because
you're like, I know I could talk to him for the rest of the night.
Yeah, exactly right. Otherwise, I get the hell out.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's what's been so cool, the people I'm meeting along this way,
Yeah.
It's just tons of information. Everyone's, hey, welcome in, come on.
Yeah.
I'm towing this panga with me. I've been on the boat with guys that I've had time to spend more than a day in town. Sometimes I'm there for 6 hours, sometimes I'm there for 48.
Yeah.
So a lot of these guys are like, hey, we're off at 5 if you want to splash that panga. I haven't been on one since Mexico.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, we're going down the Tennessee River.
Oh, fun.
With, I think, we did it with the hatch. We did it with Fish Knoxville.
Mm-hmm.
And we did it with Captain Bennett in Tybee Island.
Oh, yeah.
And next thing you know, we have this boat in places where people haven't seen a panga. The guys that know fishing, they're driving by me on the highway, looking at me, then reading the truck, then looking at the boat, trying to grasp why there's a panga in the States. Because it's not that common.
No.
And especially with the big Belize flag on it, a bonefish on the side, and Belize numbers. So it definitely draws attention. Everyone knows when I'm in town usually because the truck's pretty well wrapped.
That's great. That's great.
It's been really exciting. I'm excited to start now. I'm starting to get away from places that I've really never been to.
Yeah.
When I was coming up out of the state of Florida, I had been to Pompano. I'd been to like all these other places.
Yeah.
But as I work my way up the coast and start making my way towards Detroit,
Yeah.
after there I'll do Ohio and I'll swing back down towards.
So you're gonna do some steelhead and all that?
It's everyone always asks like, do you have a plan when you get there? And none of these fishing adventures I've been on,
Yeah.
none of these shops, there hasn't really been much of a plan. We planned to meet Fish Hawk just so the boys could be
Yeah.
there. Because they were definitely all getting ready to go fishing or golfing,
Yeah.
so I had to make sure I was there on time. But it's all kind of random. And
yeah, I can give you some recommendations as you go north.
I'd love
where
it.
The Panga might be a fun time, or here's a guy who is a fun time.
Yeah, exactly. No, I could definitely use that.
You can use a break, right?
Yeah, no, it's nice.
Make sure you put the fun in there.
There's definitely a lot of fun that goes along with it. When I was in Knoxville or Chattanooga, one of the states or one of the cities in Tennessee, the guy's like, hey, I have to open my shop at 9. How do you feel about putting the boat in at 4? I'm like, well, it's pretty late right now, but let me go back to the hotel, shower, get some sleep, and I'll meet you there.
Yeah.
And we're on the side of this highway with a boat ramp that was probably 200 yards down, pitch black. And he's like, all right, just back it up right there. I'm like, where? There's not a single light.
Yeah.
There's nothing indicating. He goes, I assure you there's a ramp here.
Yeah.
He goes, I'm going to go down there with my headlamp on and just aim for that. So it's 4 a.m. Here we are backing down this super steep incline. And I'm not used to any of that stuff because, we have flat land and
yes,
the boat ramps are usually only about 8 foot long because that's all we need. This thing was going down the side of a mountain, and he's like, I promise you there's a ramp here. And I'm
keep
like,
the faith.
Yeah, I'm like, I'll trust you since you live here. And
it's fun. One of the rules we have, there's a rule in fishing: don't leave fish to find fish.
Yeah.
Right. Our rule is don't leave fish to find work. If you're on them, call me.
Yeah.
If we're not in the weeds somehow, you can stay another hour. You know what I mean? But it's like you can't make a passionate angler to walk away from. Have a good day. See you, man.
Take it easy.
You can't ask him to walk away from something like that. So
No.
it's part of that. One of the perks.
Yeah, and it's really cool. Especially with your community and just fly fishing and fishing in general.
Mm-hmm.
How many guys know other guys in different states?
Oh yeah.
Different shops. I'm going from Fly South to they're sending me to their next friends, and those guys are sending me to their next friends.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
So the roadmap we have is pretty unified. It tells us where to go, but then it's like, well, my buddy's got a shop 30 minutes out of your way this way. Well, how do you feel about hitting it? I'm like,
let's go.
I'm like, sorry guys, we're diverting, and I'll divert a little over. Then the next thing you know, it's like, oh, we got to divert this way and back. And
how long you plan to spend on the road?
I got on the road about 2 weeks ago. I think I left the Keys somewhere around like August 20th, 21st, give or take. And as of right now, depending, I leave the truck in Texas on September 29th. And then I'll fly home and somebody will transport the truck.
Yeah.
Unless I can convince like 3 of my buddies to fly up to Louisiana, I'll meet them there. That's perfect.
Splash that thing.
It's perfect time for red fishing.
Yes, exactly right.
I'm trying to figure out if one of them could put a trolling motor in their carry-on and bring it to me because it's still sitting in Almirada. That didn't make it on the journey.
So what do you do down there?
I have a heavy equipment company. Do site work and excavation, and then I work for Bob Rich.
Is there many places to do site work and excavation?
Tons.
Really?
A lot of remodels.
That's what I would agree.
A lot of remodels.
Yeah, start over.
Yeah, no, not too many new builds on undeveloped lots. They're still happening if you have a TDR. There's like a whole process there, you know. But it's a lot of remodels, redoing all the drainage, piping, So he's recently went from septic to sewer.
Yeah.
So that kept us pretty busy for a while digging all, which was great for our water quality. It was something that needed to be done.
Right.
It's not an easy undertaking because they got to trench down the highway, shut down lanes, repave everything. And the Keys are a beautiful place.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a lot of committees. Bonefish Tarpon Trust is great guys to work with. And with my other company, I don't do much of that, but with them, they're very involved with this project, which is super cool because those guys are super intelligent.
Well, that water quality thing, whether it's captains or whatever, is it's everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, we were just talking about here, we have a couple of ports that have a lot of heavy metals in the sediment you can't dig, but because you just put all that stuff back in the water column, it's pretty nasty.
Yeah. We noticed a difference during COVID. They actually put a police roadblock at the top of the Keys,
Mm-hmm.
and they wouldn't let you in unless you had an active work permit
Mm-hmm.
or proof of residency.
Mm-hmm.
So the Keys, I mean, shut down. Unfortunately for a lot of people in the bartending, restaurant, hospitality industry, it was pretty detrimental to their
Yeah.
income. But I mean, you could notice the difference in wildlife. You can notice the difference in trash on the beach because the
Yeah.
cruise ships weren't running. Most of the trash comes from big ships.
Blows
It's
off a cruise ship.
yeah,
Or they dump it.
the big cargo ships going by. Our
Yeah.
shipping lanes are only like 14 miles offshore generally.
Yeah.
You do see them come in closer occasionally,
Yeah.
depending on weather and stuff. But the amount of Chinese trash and stuff that we get on our beaches is
Really?
incredible. And
Ah.
during COVID, it kind of all stopped. And then you're starting to see, behind my house especially,
Yeah.
I live on the bay right there in Lower Matt, and you're just seeing marine life that you didn't see before. The
Yeah, how cool is
crocodiles
that?
are swimming around a little bit more kind of relaxed and out and about because the boating traffic was down.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
it seemed like the inshore water was clear.
It's
the fishing,
amazing, you can keep your foot on nature's neck, but if you take it off in time, it'll recover. But
Yeah.
at some point, it won't.
Exactly.
Right?
And
I think we live near that tipping point a lot.
we definitely live near the tipping
Yeah.
point. It was a really cool experience to
Yeah.
experience it down there with the population and just completely. I mean, it was more than cut in half. I mean, you're driving down the highway and you wouldn't see cars for
Yeah.
miles.
Make a couple lights in a row.
Yeah, exactly. I thoroughly enjoyed it because
Yeah.
fortunately I was in a position where I could.
Yeah.
I felt for the people that couldn't.
Yeah.
But it was just going out fishing with your friends. I mean, everything was just unpressured, and finding fish was easy, and fish were tailing flats. It was. It was
probably my favorite thing. Anything I love to watch.
It's
You know what I mean?
Cool. And that's what
redfish, bonefish, stripers, all of it.
One of my really good buddies, Dugan down in the Keys. He's a lot better at fishing than me.
Yeah.
And he goes out. This whole trip he's been fishing a lot down there and sending me pictures. And he's out catching permit and redfish and bonefish. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm going for a striper today. Wish me luck. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And
when do you leave town?
I leave right after we get done here. I'm heading to Boston.
Okay.
I'm in Boston for 2 days, and then we'll do like Syracuse and somewhere else along the way.
Gonna go to Maine?
I don't think so. I'd have to look at my. I only look like 3 ahead,
Okay.
so it doesn't overwhelm me because it's
Sure.
quite a lot of driving.
Yeah, it's a little early in the month, but there's a great fishing tournament up there, fly rod tournament up there called All Species. It's in Portland, Maine. And Maine's tremendous. It's got all the saltwater stuff, and then the trout and everything else.
Yeah.
And it's the gist of it, as I understand, is how many species can you catch in?
I like that
36
they
hours or whatever it
they
is.
have one of those in Chattanooga.
Yeah.
I think it was the Hatch that put it on. Maybe it's starting to. At the beginning of
Blur
this,
together.
I'm like, and I remember all the guys remember the conversations, but some of the information is starting to form as, when I hit the first 2 fly shops, I could tell you
Keep it
everything
safe.
about that town, but now it's like, who told me about this?
Yeah.
Was this Sess at the Hatch?
Well, it sounds like if you got to be in Ohio and then Texas by the
yeah.
29th, you might be a little out of your way in terms of time. Not out of your way so much as the timing.
The timing, yeah. So I'm in Buffalo for 5 days.
Oh.
That's where Bob Rich is mainly from, and
Okay.
he actually has me throwing the first pitch out at a baseball game.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, I haven't thrown a baseball in 15 years, so
Yeah.
we'll see how that
Well,
goes.
a lot of people like bounce it twice. You'll get to it.
As long as I get it in the general direction,
Yeah.
I'm going to be pretty thrilled with myself.
Yeah.
And I'll probably end up on the internet somewhere of a guy who can't throw a baseball. I told them they should let me put it on a spinning rod and just whip it right to the caster, because I promise I'll get it there that way. But there's no way. But this whole project he has me working on has been just absolutely beautiful. I mean, it's so cool.
I heard he also Bob Rich also wrote a book, right?
Yeah, multiple books.
Okay.
So this,
because there's something I read that he wrote, and the words were just, wish I could remember. It was in the last couple of years, or maybe he wrote it a while ago. I found it in the last couple of years. It was like, damn, that captures it perfectly.
So this movie that is out now,
and can you talk a little about?
And so that's like one thing that we're kind of spreading awareness of, is when people first hear fly fishing movie or film, they're assuming it's kind of like a short series. It's it's like it's kind of something, not really anything. It's going to be like a 30-minute film, and this is like the first fishing movie to come to theaters in about 30 years. There's been other Netflix and other shows out, but this is a real movie. It's going to be in AMC movie theaters. I think we're in about 256 locations, or 230, somewhere in that ballpark. So we just had the premiere. It was fantastic. Got to watch it. I finally the first 2 weeks I hadn't got to watch the movie yet.
Yeah.
They made me wait till the premiere, which I love.
Kind of cool. Yeah.
So it was.
And you did that in New York City?
Yep, we did it at the DGA Theater in New York City. I drove the truck around a good bit.
Yeah.
In which was a challenge in itself from a guy who lives on an island to work
You're
in
on
the
another
city.
island.
Yeah, but there's a whole lot more going on there.
Yeah.
I think I saw more people I saw in the 4 days I was in New York City than I have in the entire year I was in Islamorada. So
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, it's just people everywhere, chaos, and but it's kind of controlled.
And not a lot of trailers. Maybe some construction trailers.
Yeah, no. So I ended up making the executive decision because the hotel I was staying at had valet, but not valet for truck and trailer. So
Yeah.
I ended up leaving at a marina, I think Seaport Marina in New Jersey. Called them and I was like, I need to leave the boat here for a couple of days. They're like, no problem, drop it off. And I just found a marina in Boston.
Good.
And the guy's like, so you don't need a slip? And I'm like, well, I'm not saying I don't need it. I mean, we'll see how the day goes. But I was like, I really just need somewhere. He's like, so you're leaving your boat on a trailer here? And I'm like, yes. So it's been a very uncommon question I'm getting from everybody is like, what do you mean you have a boat with you? Fortunately enough, I was at Lake Lanier. And beautiful place. I don't know if you know, and I might butcher his name a little bit because I kept doing it to him, and I'm trying to remember everybody's name. Andy Cohen. He wrote a book about how to catch striper bass.
Oh, the hybrid. Yeah.
So ended up
Henry Cohen.
I kept calling him Andy, and it's Henry Cohen.
Yeah.
And he's during our first interview, like I said, you meet 100 people in the course of 2 weeks. It's just kind of hard to get everybody accurate. And ended up calling him, and I was like, hey, Paul said, give you a call. I'm in Lake Lanier. I was in Atlanta, and I just didn't want to stay in the city. It was really hard to find. Ended up interviewing him, the day before I left, and I pulled up to the Legacy Lodge, and the guy's like, where are you going to do this? And I'm like, I don't know. Right here seems perfect in front of your front doors.
Yeah.
And we started.
Does he own a lodge or something like that?
No. So this was just a random hotel I found just outside of Atlanta. Inside Atlanta, it was just really hard to find a hotel that could accommodate it without leaving it in a lot somewhere and then unhooking the boat. And
all that.
It's a whole process to unhook. Even though it's 5 minutes, it's still, you leave your boat somewhere. It's kind of a weird feeling. I don't like leaving my boat unattended. Right. And I pulled up to the Legacy Lodge, and the guy working there, the bellman, he's like, oh, where are you from? After we did the initial, like, where's this thing gonna go? And I was like, Islamorada. And he's like, I used to live there 15 years. I worked at Chico Lodge. I'm like, really? He goes, yeah, there was this guy, Bob Rich. He used to come in all the time. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, yeah, I was just telling him about the other day. He goes, he drives a white Volvo. Do you know him? And I'm like, well, this is his movie. And he's like, you can park here.
There you go.
Like, he always treated me very nice. And I'm like, it's a small world.
It totally is. Good idea to treat people nice.
I'm 1,200 miles from home, and the connections of the fishing community and connections of Islamorada and Bob are still, blessing me along the way and helping me out.
Absolutely, blessing's the right word.
Yeah, so it's a cool experience. I'm happy I got to come see you guys. And I'm not sure where I'm going in Boston yet. I got a place to stay, but I kind of just, as I start driving.
So you got a buddy up there? How you got the place to stay?
Just Airbnb.
Okay.
So and fortunately enough, I've like Tybee, I got to stay. My buddy owns a bunch of hotels out there. The Admiral Inn and the Sandcastle, I think, is what another one is called. So he's like, hey, since you have 5 days here, just come stay with me. I'll put you up. He goes, you can stay in my house, but it's nice to have your own space. When you want to go unwind at night. So I did that for a few days, which was really cool. And then I've been meeting buddies along the way, guys I haven't talked to in 10, or
that's great.
Haven't seen in 10 to 15 years. One of my buddies in right next to Philly, he's been begging me to come to his house for years, and it's just, with work and busy, and it's just hard. Yeah, and he's just outside of it, so it's not too bad. And I was like, hey, I'm driving by. I was like, I'm getting this off the list. I'm coming to your house.
There you go.
I ended up pulling to his driveway, and he had 2 Philly subs waiting for me.
Oh, nice.
And we ended up having lunch on his back porch and just catching up for about an hour before I, made my way to New York City, which was Virginia Beach, New York City is a long haul. Towing a boat.
Right. The boat towing stuff, it makes me nuts.
Yeah, I have a little bit of what.
You've got a lot more experience than me. Boats and I'm sure heavy equipment, right? So
I have a little bit of ghost trailer right now. Every time I unhook the boat, I still take turns really wide, so people are probably wondering what's wrong with me.
That's cool.
I still feel like I'm hooked up to it, and I imagine when I get home, it's going to be quite like that for some time, because everywhere I go, I'm like looking at should I back into this parking lot? Am I going to be able to turn around? And we stayed last night. We kept the truck and the boat at Brown and Wharf, I think.
Brown's Wharf.
Super convenient. I called them and I'm like, so I found this turn. is this where you need to go? Because I got the boat. They're like, I promise you can spin it around back there. I'm
Yeah,
like, all right,
good.
perfect. Before I commit, because it's that little whole Time Street,
Thames Street.
Thames
Yeah,
Street is
yeah.
a busy area.
Oh
There's
yeah.
people walking everywhere. It's
And the
full.
jaywalking everywhere.
Yes.
And then they have these little dopey like 3 seat.
Oh yeah, the scooters, the tri. Those were,
Yeah.
and I'm driving this brand new F-250, and it's great. It's got every sensor on the planet. It's got cameras everywhere. I could look at down the side of the truck, in front of the truck, behind the truck, aerial view of the truck. It makes it fantastic. But those little things are so small. I'm like driving real slow, looking over the hood, like where are they coming from? And everyone's just out having a good time. They don't care.
Well, I just don't see the benefit of them at all.
No, I don't really have an interest in getting one. If it's your thing, I'm sure.
And
it's
the
fun.
jaywalking thing is, I'm crusty Newporter now, right? But the jaywalking thing, I mean, people get killed every year, and that's how.
In New York, it was wild. I mean, they're pretty good because the streets are so wide.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just everywhere you go, people, and you got to make a right turn, but their pedestrians allowed to cross during a right turn. So I'm like, I'm sitting here like this. Can I go? Do I not go?
And then the light turns, and here come the other. They're not waiting.
No, nobody waits there for anything. Right. And there was a few spots. I was in Nashville, and I'm towing the boat and I have the truck going up and down Broadway.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's lights. I'm in the middle. I can't figure out where to go.
Right.
But it's good advertisement. There's people taking pictures of this truck because what we have,
That's
and
cool.
I don't know if I touched base with that. The truck's got a QR code on it. Scan it, it pulls up the trailer. But then it also prompts you, if you post it on your social media, we're giving away trips to Baja, Mexico, Colorado, all sorts of different things.
Nice.
Coast of
so
sunglasses.
We can take a picture of it today.
Yep.
Post it. And that would allow people to access the QR code.
Correct. But also it enters you guys in, like if there's a rooster fishing trip to Mexico.
Yeah.
4 days, there's, and then we have a bunch of sponsors, and you'll see a lot of the list on there, Turtle Box and Yeti and Bass Pro and, all sorts of different people that are giving away things for part of the road trip.
Yeah.
So that's getting a lot of people to start posting, and it's just helping spread awareness. And, it's cool watching
I want to
people.
run down the idea of showing this film at Jane Pickens here in Newport.
Yeah, so
we've done fly stuff and surf stuff there, and the local response is great.
Yeah,
people want to get out and do something in February. Show them a good time.
100%, and it's cool because it's a movie.
Yeah,
So
it's feature length. It's a feature length, like an hour plus.
I think like hour and a half, give or take.
Wow.
To be honest, I was going to try to pay attention to that when I got to the movie, and I just ended up watching the movie and kind of losing track of time, which is, I guess, is a good thing.
Yeah, well done.
And the really cool thing about this movie is it's not just fishing.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you have your family, your kids, or whoever you want to bring, they're going to be interested in it because there's a storyline behind it as well. That's not just fishing. And I can't give away too much details about it, but because I try not to, at least. The trailer's out. Trailer's great, and it's about to be in theaters, I think, in 6 days.
Wow.
But there's a lot more to the story, and it's kind of a family movie to where where it's a father and son fishing trip in Belize.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
And it keeps you going the whole time. There was some people.
Yeah, I love the idea that you don't have to be a fisherman to enjoy it.
And there was a lot of people at the theater that weren't fishermen that were like, "That's a great storyline. We love the movie," and it was really cool to hear their reactions and their responses to it. Because obviously, as a fisherman and a guy who loves the water, I'm going to be biased to it because it's going to keep my interest going.
Low.
Yeah, I'm just entertained watching somebody catch a bonefish.
Exactly right.
Like it entertains me. It's cool to see this industry getting on the big screen for the first time in a while.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to bring a lot of attention into fishing.
That's
I think
great.
it's going to get a lot of
it's
people.
Something that those guys had the vision to do something that big. I did not understand that it's what you're describing.
And that's the thing.
Until today.
A lot of people really didn't know.
And even the little stop, I spent only a little bit of time at the booth at ICAST. I was on a burner trip, turn and burn thing. But it's good. I'll keep an eye out for that. But I didn't really recognize that it wasn't going to be something, not a lot like, but I mean, in that shorter window, 30 minutes or,
and
that, you know what I mean?
Versus that's a very common reaction I'm having to people. Everyone's kind of like, and that was like kind of one of the ideas behind this campaign was to get me out into the community and tell everybody about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great marketing thing, and a lot of people assumed, and like I did originally before I really got involved,
Mm-hmm.
was that it was going to be just kind of like a film,
Yeah.
like about these guys fishing in Belize,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And it's a full
Story.
class movie, story,
Yeah.
drama, action. There's everything going on in
Excellent.
it, and it's really cool. And we're really excited to be with AMC Theater. They picked it up. They
Yeah.
put it in a lot of locations, and it's going to be playing for a little bit of time. I know we have another premiere September 12th in Islamorada, which will be good.
Yeah.
That's
September 12th. You won't be home for that.
No, I will be. I will be. I believe in Buffalo.
Yeah.
At the Bison's game, which is going to
Well,
be an experience.
I do know the steelhead. We've already caught the first couple steelhead. So if you're a shorts and flip flops guy,
I'm a big shorts and flip flops guy.
Yeah, right. Bundle up a little bit and get yours.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I
you got a couple of days. You're gonna get someone to rattle around with you up there and 100%. Make that happen.
Yeah, I got a lot of family from Buffalo, so
I enjoy the I just don't do it very often.
Yeah, I'm telling you, every day is a new day and an adventure, and
yeah.
My route changes pretty frequently. I try to stay on for we have a.
You're still headed north, so good for you.
As long as I'm still on track, it's good, and they're okay with it. I texted we have a group chat with Paul and the directors and everybody and producers, and I'm like, hey guys, what do you think about Rhode Island? And they're like, perfect. Paul's like, boop, Peter, and I'm like, this is why I texted it.
Yeah. That's great.
And he's been a huge help.
Oh yeah. He's a generous guy.
Yeah, he's been a huge help for you. I mean, he just knows everybody.
Yeah.
And he knows everything. Yeah. So it's every time I'm in
pretty
a town.
Good combination.
Yeah, it's a good combination. So every town I'm in, between whether it's the guys I've met at a previous shop, or having the team behind me, it's been great because I'm going into it blind, but also I'll text them, hey, I'm at this.
You're going in blind, but not clueless.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
Yeah.
And it's great. Like every day's so cool.
Yeah.
And I get to come check out all these shops. I've looked at the same shops in my town, which are great. For the last 30 years.
Right.
But now I'm looking at a whole wide variety.
I'm always going to fly shops all over the place. Tackle shops, period, but fly in particular.
Yeah.
Because I think it's cool to see the different some fly ideas, pattern design, stuff like that isn't made it our way.
Yeah. Do you know Rob Smith?
Know the name, yeah.
Yeah, he tied me a redfish fly. And he's like, he goes, when you get to Louisiana, he's like, keep this. I put it in my tackle box already so it doesn't get messed up.
Yeah.
And he goes, this will be your fly when you get to Louisiana. So I'm like, perfect. So we did a little shot of him tying flies. And, I'm noticing that a lot of fly shops do, tie fly nights. And that's really good for, the community, get out, kind of learn a little bit about it.
So for us, we, like I said, we do that. We have that every other Thursday during the winter. Then every one of the other Thursdays, we'll do a webinar, whether it's some portion of the education stuff we plan to do this winter. This winter we'll have I've rented a ballroom for 4 months. One will be a light tackle seminar at the beginning of January. Then there'll be a inshore bluefin, sort of inshore offshore, not way offshore, the center console stuff. That'll be in February. Then the fly forum that we did last year, we're gonna mix up the people, but do that again. And then lastly, we have a plug show in the tent behind the shop, with all the custom wood. It's not like fly, the cool fly tires. There's plug builders that do some amazing stuff,
I
right?
bet.
And and we get about 400 plus people. They sleep in the parking lot. I get here at 5 o'clock. They're already in line.
I love it.
Totally.
And what event is that?
We call it the Striper Kickoff.
Nice.
But it started plug days with the other term people use for it. The Saltwater Striper Kickoff is sort of welcoming the stripers back, and all these plug builders are toiling away all winter, and their inventory is great in April, and they other shows they got to go pay for a booth and stay all day, and we're like, this is the day you get treated like the rock star that you are. And they're like, God damn, I'm a rock star. You know what I mean? You give them a free table and a sausage, egg, and cheese, and they couldn't be happier.
100%.
Right?
The key to my heart is food. So
the people pile in,
Yeah.
So it's with that, we do it in a tent. And what we'll be doing in the afternoon of that day, similar to the fly forum and the bluefin I mentioned, is I get 6 bar stools and 6 different captains or fly rodders or whatever, mix it up, and then bring 3 out at a time, and we'll do how to fly rod an estuary. And these guys go back and forth, and a guy will say, well, that's when I go to a gurgle, and the other guy goes, "That's when I go to a clouser," and then they get into it a little bit, right? And then the audience can ask a question. It's a great way to fill gaps if you are, you know, committed to it, right? You're not a one-on-one guy. You're committed to it. You want to fill in some gaps. Hearing this back and forth from experts, whether they're tuna guys, fly guys, surf guys, whatever. That's the learning style, learning method that helps fill in the blanks.
Yeah.
So we're really excited to roll out 4 of those this winter. It'll be the biggest program that we've done.
And when is that?
Sort of the first. That'll be all on Instagram and stuff, but it's early January, early February, early March, early April.
So if people want to stay informed, like they're close by or they're traveling through, the Saltwater Edge on Instagram is
the best place. And then if you bought something here and sign up for the email program, you'll get our blog posts, our podcasts. We do an awful lot on YouTube. There's only over 500 videos up there now.
Wow.
Almost 50 podcasts, about as many 500 or so blogs as well. So there's plenty over time.
Yeah. No, I'm definitely going to check it out. I've been trying to listen a little bit more podcasts on the road. You can only listen to the same 30 songs so many times before you start to really, wonder.
My song thing, you know how Spotify gives you the thing at the end of the year? It's the same 4 songs.
Yeah, I'm about over listening to music. I've been doing a lot of conference calls with buddies.
Yeah. Saltwater Edge podcast. Check it out.
I'll definitely be checking it out. I got after Boston, I got another pretty long haul drive, and then I'll be exploring, the Niagara River some bit, which is going to be really cool. And I got a bunch of connections out there and family and friends.
Get to it, because there's great fishing out there.
I'm looking for it, and fortunately enough with this, I left the Keys when it's brutally hot.
Yeah.
You can't go out to the back.
Right.
Yeah, you can't go into the back because mosquitoes are bad.
Yeah.
And now I'm going through all these towns when weather's quite honestly beautiful. I have a little pullover jacket, for when it's cold.
It yet. A Florida guy, you probably have.
Trust me, that's like my most used piece of clothing. I've been using it, and as soon as we got to like the Virginia Beach area, for me it was considered cold.
Chilly. Yeah.
Yeah. 70 is you break out the long johns and a sweater.
Yep.
Well, I really appreciate you having us.
You bet.
Great morning, and if you guys are this is Middletown, Rhode Island, or
so
surrounding areas.
Anyone who's got a wife or a girlfriend, they're gonna love Newport.
Yeah, 100%.
So come on down.
Yeah, come check it out.
And plenty of female anglers come in here too. But my point is, it's a road trip.
And you're only 4 miles away from Newport, where there's tons of restaurants, tons of stuff, tons of Airbnbs, and a ton of history. And that was something super cool. I talked to a guy last night after dinner about it a little bit, and it's just, it's full of history, absolutely full. And you start reading the plaques around town and all sorts of stuff, and meeting people, and a lot of conversations start because I'm driving this gigantic billboard truck around, which is great because everyone's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Ooh, you tell me what you're doing." I was like, "I'll tell you if you tell me."
Yeah.
But it's been a great morning so far. I couldn't be more appreciative for you having us here, and look forward to checking out your shop a little bit.
Sounds great, man.